A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move, 17 Democratic officials have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration, accusing it of unlawfully intimidating healthcare providers into ceasing gender-affirming care for transgender youth. The complaint, lodged in U.S. District Court in Boston, follows a troubling trend where at least 8 major hospitals have announced they would stop or restrict such care, despite it being legally permitted under state law. The most recent announcement came from UI Health in Chicago, adding to the growing list of healthcare facilities succumbing to political pressure. This legal action comes on the heels of the Trump administration's decision to send subpoenas to healthcare providers, ostensibly to investigate them for fraud, and subsequently boasting about hospitals halting treatments. The Democratic officials assert that these policies are an attempt to impose a nationwide ban on gender-affirming treatments for minors, which they argue is unlawful given that no federal statute exists prohibiting such care for individuals under 19. New York Attorney General Letitia James characterized the federal government's actions as a cruel and targeted harassment campaign against providers who offer essential, life-saving care to children. Critics of gender-affirming care, including Trump and his supporters, argue that it leads to irreversible changes that individuals may later regret, claiming it is driven by dubious science. Since 2021, 28 states with Republican-controlled legislatures have enacted policies to ban or restrict gender-affirming care for minors. A pivotal ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court in June affirmed that states have the right to enforce these laws, leading to a significant impact on families with transgender children who are now scrambling for treatment options. The Center for Trans Youth Health and Development at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, a prominent provider of gender-affirming care for youth, closed its doors in July, further exacerbating the crisis. The lawsuit, spearheaded by California Attorney General Rob Bonta and officials from 15 other states and the District of Columbia, challenges a January executive order by President Trump that labeled gender-affirming care as mutilation and called for the Justice Department to enforce a ban through investigations. The lawsuit contends that such efforts lack legal basis and are intended to intimidate providers from delivering lawful healthcare. Bonta's office emphasized that the actions taken by the Trump administration have created a chilling effect, compelling providers to limit their care due to fears of prosecution. Mainstream medical associations have long supported gender-affirming care for minors experiencing gender dysphoria, arguing that it alleviates distress and suicidal thoughts among transgender youth. LGBTQ+ rights advocates have accused Trump and his allies of misrepresenting this care, which encompasses therapy, counseling, and medical interventions such as puberty blockers and hormone treatments. As the number of children identifying as transgender or non-binary rises, the debate surrounding gender-affirming care intensifies, with conservative leaders expressing concern over potential regret among young individuals who transition. Some prominent detransitioners have become vocal supporters of the administration's stance, arguing against the care they once received. The ongoing legal battle reflects a broader struggle over states' rights and medical authority, with the Supreme Court recently ruling that conservative states may impose bans on puberty blockers and hormone treatments for transgender teens. However, the Trump administration has aggressively pursued a nationwide eradication of gender-affirming care, disregarding state laws that protect such treatment. The executive order issued by Trump, titled Protecting Children from Chemical and Surgical Mutilation, claims that medical professionals are harming children under the guise of care. It mandates that the U.S. will not support or promote the transition of minors, while enforcing laws against what it terms destructive and life-altering procedures. The lawsuit specifically targets a section of the order that directs the Justice Department to investigate healthcare providers for potentially misleading the public about the long-term effects of gender-affirming care. The legal implications of this order could have far-reaching consequences for healthcare providers and transgender youth across the nation. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the outcome of this lawsuit remains uncertain, but it undoubtedly underscores the contentious nature of gender-affirming care and the rights of transgender individuals in America. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.